welcome everyone to the final side talk webinar series in the series. Today we are talking in the topic of Ask the Actors, adopting actor skill training to enrich both program and service designs. I'm Shut Chawatwit. Actually, I was the vice president last year for Site Thailand before the actual association has been established. But right now, I'm helping the team. But even unfortunately, because of the time constraints, a lot of my members, my fellow members, cannot make it today because we are having an examination for CITP program right now. So this one will be very small but very cozy one. So feel free to have a chat and make any question if you want through our question box and also in the chat as well. First thing first, let me recap you on the previous sessions. We started this right after the COVID-19 hit us, very hard of course. We started with the Brave New World, the first one. We take a look into the unfamiliar future of institute travel. It was our first one, a big one. A lot of people tuning in from across the globe, especially our global president from the US, Jen. And also the second time, we were talking about the communication in uncertainty. Because during the COVID-19 crisis, everybody tries to communicate on the business, but we at Site, we think that the communication during the uncertainty is very, very crucial. How can we communicate clearly with empathy and also make sure that our business can still going. And also for the third time, we were having a conversation about germophobic is the new normal. Because there's a lot of people, a lot of our clients, they're concerned very much about their health and safety. Very, very productive conversation right as well. And last Friday, we were talking about travel with nose and ears, which is quite interesting because we bring experts from other industry, the sound designer and scent designer to join us in the conversation, and we got a very, very good feedback about how can we adapt knowledge from other industry to make our performance even better. Talking about performance, we call our job when we do the evaluation, we ask whether we have a good performance or not. So I think this is quite a very interesting topic, especially to myself, because I graduated in theater before I come to the incentive travel industry. So I see a lot of similarity between the two, from theater practitioner who have to be very careful, very thoughtful. They have to be sensitive. They have to be very attentive to detail. So I think there's some similarity between the two businesses, and I think we can check. But before we go any further, I would like to take you to see a video from our president, Kun Max, who cannot make it in person today. So the technical team, can you roll the tape, please?
Sawadee Krap and welcome to Site Talk number 5, the final series. But don't worry, there's going to be more and more coming. I would like to address here, as we are coming to the final one, I would like to thank you TSET for supporting and being the true strategic partner from the beginning of Site Thailand. And of course our friend Tika for being the great collaborating partner from the beginning of the Site Talk and also any site activity as well. Today's topic is going to be something outside of the industry, Ask the Actor. Because the panelist that we are bringing today is someone that very much involved in the acting and performing business. So learn from them as much as you can. So thank you so much, the panelists, for joining, Kun Trent, Kun Pimtat, and Kun Tiptawan, for saying yes to this Site Talk invitation. And I'm sure that you're going to be sharing so many information and great experience to us. And of course, our talented moderator, Kun Chut or Chawatwit, who are behind all this, orchestrating of the side talk from the beginning, from side talk number 1 as well. So learn and enjoy the final session, and stay tuned for many more activity that Side Thailand is going to bring to you. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you, Kun Max. I hope you will do well with the examination. After today, if all the members who join the examination get through with CITP program, will be one of the chapters that has a lot of the most number of CITP professional. So let's keep our finger crossed for them. I believe they will do very, very well. So as Kun Max mentioned, I would like to introduce you to our experts today. They are very talented. All of them, including me today, we have a background in theater practice. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome my panelists, Kun Tiptawan Uchai and Kun Pimpat Chutakun from Cell Factory, and also Kun Trent Ruk Sanket from Nailert Butler. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
About the topic myself very much. In the previous years, I've been in institute travel for some time, and MICE in industry as a whole. I've seen a lot of similarity between the practice and the desired quality of those who will become good hospitality professional. I see a lot of similarity between how we train the actors to be sensitive, to be open, to be welcome, to be very active, to learn something new. I think this is something very, very similar to incentive travel.
I strongly believe so.
Yeah, right. Because our when we were practice in theater, some of you like Kun Tiptawan still right now you are still working in the theater, very, very present, right? Because you are the lecturer as well.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, before we get further, I would like you guys to introduce yourself and the job that you're doing right now. So maybe start with you, Tiptawan. Let me call you with your nickname, Kun Tei.
Yes, you nailed it. Yeah, that's my nickname. So my full-time job is a lecturer at Bangkok University. I teach at Communication Arts, Faculty of Communication Arts. So of course I teach acting, but moreover than that, I also teach applied theater, which is a new concept to apply the notion or the knowledge of theater and in what practice we use in drama class and apply it to in any kind of field, so basically it's my work is teachings about communication. So that's why me with my partner we found this company called Cell Factory, which focus on training people how to do a creative communication that will benefit any aspect of your life that you wish it will be.
What about you, Kun Prang? I think you're the colleague and also partners in crime.
Yes.
You have to come up with a session to train the people in the business industry as well.
Yes, but we are partner and we do a company together. And normally we plan a workshop acting for non-actor. So we're using acting technique to improve that skill about how to communicate or creative communication. And we design a workshop focused on effective communication.
Right.
Yes. And I hope today my experience will be useful to you, everyone.
It will, I think, certainly. And the last but not least, of course, Kun Trent. We've been talking in other occasions before, but I think three of you, I think Kun Trent will be the one with the most experience on service itself. So can you tell me a little bit about your job?
Yes, I'm a full-time butler and also the education and managers in training of Nailert Butler, because we have a school of the butler service, the first one in Thailand, and also we do the butler service also. It's a platform of services. So I'm background in theater as well from Thailand University.
but I might be younger than all of you. But yeah, I'd apply a lot of like the theater act technique into the services. So yeah, I think this.
And I
today
read a
will be
lot
fun.
about you and your job, and you always
Oh, thank you.
and you always mention in your interview that your background in acting training helps a lot
Yes.
when you come up with the idea on how to make your client impressed. I
I
think
could say that yes, that totally helped me a lot. I could say so. I think that today we could have some experts from theater, from lecturer will help me also. I believe that's so.
sure. So I think I would get things started right now. Let's kick off the first poll. I think this is something very is a very good entry point for our conversation today. Let me see the first poll. Can you see that? Okay. The first poll will be about: do you see yourself or your service team on duty as performers? Something very, very interesting, right?
Can I answer
Yes.
this question too? Can
yeah,
I?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, when we wait, as we wait for our audience to answer this poll, let's talk about this. Let's talk about: do you see yourself when you are not an actual actor on the stage, but you are, just ordinary people working your job, doing your job? Do you see yourself as a performer? Three of you.
Can I go first? I have a very clear answer, and it's like when you read the question in my brain is like, yes, definitely all the time. And it's also a way to help me balance myself role and with my other roles in life as well. I think it's a technique that when I came to know about this, I realized that this is a very good thing to hold it like for the rest of my life, because it's just gonna make my life function a lot easier. So in general, communication is it's what we do, right? We do in our life. Everyone needs to do communication, but we never think about like who do we communicate with, and who's at the other end of our communication, and what kind of message that we want to deliver to that person. So would it be easier if I invite everyone to think of yourself as a character, not yourself, your role in life as a character, not just yourself. For example, I am myself, I am Tituan, but when I'm at university, my character become the lecturer. When I go hang out with my friend, my character become like a friend. When I go talk to like my family, my character become a daughter, because this kind of role, when you switch it, your behavior change according to it. And if you know how to control that, there are so many things that you can design in order to achieve that kind of communication.
Yeah, interesting, because when you see yourself as a different self or characters, you have a total control of it, and nobody else can control it apart from you, because you are the one who set up that characters in that situation. It doesn't mean that you are not sincere, right? It's totally different. Can you
It's
share
totally different.
Being a character doesn't mean you are someone else, or you are pretending, or you are trying to deceive someone, but you are setting some a certain kind of your trait, your stuff, and put it over there, and you can have a total control about it. Anybody want to share about this notion, Prang or Kun Trent?
I'm agree with Tơi, because acting is not a pretend. You have to sincere what your expression or what you want to act or what you want to think. You have to show that in sincere, not pretend you are the different one.
Yeah,
Yes,
sincerity is quite a key, and I think Kun Trent will need that in his job as well, right?
Yeah, because I always tell my colleagues and my students that we need to have some motivation, because I've learned that the actors need some motivation to do every single thing on stage. And it is a trick actually, because when we're dealing with difficult guests, they're always picking on you. If you're not confident, if you don't have motivation, if you don't have something to do, they'll pick up on you and complain you. if you don't have the motivation on everything and every action and every service you do, you'll be complained by the difficult guest, which is looking at you as a sheep and they are a lion.
All right.
That's quite a technique from
We'll
me.
get back to that. That's a very, very cool idea. Okay, can we see the poll results?
Wow.
Our audience see themselves as performers. Interesting. The most popular is sometimes I feel I have to pretend to make my I cannot read the whole thing. Can let
Sometimes I feel I have to pretend to make my clients happy.
oh right.
That's touch. That choice is so touch my heart.
Okay. And the second one is yes, but that's why we call it performance. I agree with that because work is a performance. So if you when you do evaluation, you call it performance evaluation, right? But some of our audience said that you take your job seriously, you don't perform. I just do my job, which is interesting as well. It's another angle to think about your job. You are the one doing the job, but let's talk about that. Let's continue on that point. When people have different role in life, I'm a business owner, I'm a colleague, I'm a boss, I'm the supplier for my clients. So different roles give me different kind of attitude as well. When I'm with my client, I act with a certain traits. When I am with my family, I have another character as well. So maybe you are the one with this idea. If you take your job very, very seriously and it becomes the whole, your being, it becomes the whole thing.
Consume yourself.
Is that a good thing or is that something we have to be very careful?
I would say that it's something, if you're happy with it and you don't find any angle that it would make you feel like miserable, then fine, then okay. But, just continue with that path. But if there's any second that you feel like, oh my God, this has something to do with my self-worth or like self-esteem, then that's a sign that you have to find a better way to balance it. And the idea of getting into character, that's how you can protect yourself. Because you know what, your shift time, it has the start, beginning time, and it has this ending time. You don't have to stay with it the whole day, 24 hours. And it's impossible that you have to carry that role all the time, right? Otherwise it wouldn't be called work. It's called work because it's some, some amount of time. When you tune in acting class, we use the word tune in. When you tune into your character, you become that character and your behavior change with it, your goal change with it. And when your shift time is finished, you have the right to tune out of that and go back to your own self. Go party, go enjoy yourself, spend some time with family. That's how you can balance it.
And I think it's important for people in the service industry, right? To be very careful about the proportion of your job and your life. Because Trent shared with us yesterday when we have a preliminary talk that it's quite challenging to those in the service industry, especially those who have to deal with a client directly. They have to be very, very, careful about which part of the day that you become, you're doing your job and which part of the day you step out. So can you share with me a little bit about that again, Trent?
Thank you very much. So actually, it's like you need to be as a work person on the working time is actually basic, and you need to be yourself every time that you have some break time. So it could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes or 1 hour. That time you must entirely be yourself. But sometimes it's quite difficult for someone who serious on the working time, and sometimes we have overtime, like could be 10 hours or 15 hours a day, and we have some different techniques. Myself, I use the external boost. In the Butler training, we use an external boost to boost ourselves every time we be yourself. And we have some some pictures, some songs, some clip videos that could remind me to myself, to remind you to yourself, like what is you actually, and then when you got your power back, when you got some energy back, so you are ready to perform again at the working time. Something like that. We train always in the butler service training at Nile Butler.
And it's good for our members who are hotels as well, because
Yes, I believe so.
right, because normally when we talk about service in the hotel, we know that all the hotels put their best effort to make sure that the service will be the finest,
Of course.
to the maximum level of
Flawless.
yeah. And I think this is something that good for your workforces, to those in service in the front line, I would say, to be careful and to be, to have an empathy on yourself as well. I'll talk about that later. But before we go to that, I think yesterday another thing that we talked about is the relationship between our realm, theater practice and the service industry. I think you prepare something for us to show what is the relationship between our practice and the service industry practice.
Okay, I think I will explain with it. That would be like the way to like a telling a story way.
Right.
I'm just gonna ask everyone to imagine it with me that when you get into a theater, there are many roles, like you meet with many people, right? But there are roles of those people in the theater. There are actors, and then you become the audience. You become in the audience. What if we trying to think of this relationship and try to merge it in our service community, in the service business?
Right.
The actor could be the staff or the worker or the seller. And then the audience could be the customer, right? And then actor performance, or what we witness or see on the stage, is how we as a service business staff would trying to sell our product, or how we would present our product, or the way that we want to meet the customer needs, right? That's the performance, And then lastly, the emotion involvement that happened in the theater between actor and the audience, that's equal the great experience that the customer will get if our performance is good. Okay, so and that's gonna lead to a repurchasement, or the next time that they're gonna consider or coming back to us, or you already make a good impression that they memorize you, and then they're gonna consider you the first option for the next time.
Yeah, so interesting, because in theater we have a lot of people working together. We have actors. We can say that all the service provider in the front line, like butler, receptionists or waiters, they are at the front line. They are the actors who perform and give the sense of experience to the client, who is the audience. But also on the back of the house, we also have those people who work in the background, like the directors, the designers, all those people, which is also those people in this conversation as well. We have our member who is a DMC, who designed the program. We have the hoteliers who have to do all the design for the service for their clients. So I think this metaphor, this visualization helps a lot when you come to when you have to decide what kind of experience your client will get from your setting, from your theater, from your establishment, which is whatever, hotels, your trips, your attractions, whatsoever. So when you think about it that way, can we use the same technique that we use when we try to make a production, or when we try to train an actors for the production, that we have to put a very clear objective? Can you elaborate on that? Because in theater, whenever we are on the stage, we were trained to be very conscious about our objective. actors
Yeah.
cannot play without objectives. So can you elaborate on that?
Yes, objective. That's the haunting word for student, for my student, for my performance student, because all the time I would question them every time that they have to like perform their scene. I would ask them what is the character's objective? Why do they do that? Because objective is, you know, like to make it easier, it's a goal. It's a goal for each scene or for each, you know, like moment for each hour, and it will direct the way you behave, or it will direct everything. It will direct your, you know, your posture. It will direct the tone of voice that you use. It will direct who you turn your face to if you understand your objective or your goal. So that's important because it's like your compass. It always like helps you which way you should go and how you should go to do it in order for you to achieve that goal. So to make it easier, I think objective will be like a goal in service business.
And you said that the good objective should be something very specific. It shouldn't be something broad or vague, like you want people to be happy. That's very vague. You cannot imagine yourself what to do right away. But when we train actors, we have to make the objective very solid, very tangible. So can you guys give me some example? I mean, when you say that, okay, our service goal is to make people happy, I think that's a little bit too, you know, vague. Can you make it more specific?
Yes. It has something to do with motivation. That's another word that's important. You have your goal, but your goal doesn't feed enough motivation, then you never do it. You never get it done. So if you get your goal to be more specific and maybe smaller goal, or the goal that will be easier to achieve, or like you see the way, the possibility that you can achieve it.
Action.
To take the action.
You can do it right away. So any example, you guys? Like, for instance, if we are, let's say that we are in a restaurant, that we bring our client to eat at this specific restaurant. What kind of goal that we are talking about in the different character? I mean, for the waiter, for the program designers, for the chef. So everybody have different kind of objective. But what is the tangible, the gravity of the objective that we are talking about? Can you give us some?
At the top of my mind right now, for example, we usually set the goal as like for the guest to enjoy the food, right? To have the best experience. That's too broad. Like how do you want them to enjoy it? Maybe you can narrow your goal down to like for the guests to go do a review, go write a review in website later.
You want to see them write the review about you. That's more specific. Any other idea trend on Kun Prang? Can you give me any more example on specific objective which will give you a very good motivation to achieve your goal? Like you Kun Tran talk about a very simple thing, like when you conduct a service and you see something not in the good place or not in the good condition, you do it right away, and it gives you an instant motivation to make it right. So can you share with us a little bit about that?
It's actually like the improvisation actually in our service, because we have some preparation before, like what the client should meet, what the client should see, what the client should experience. But in present of the catering, in the present of the party, we need to be instantly, simultaneously see what it should be right away. So it's called seamless services, because if the clients just feel or make some expression or waving that they want something, that's not the good experience. They must step by step enjoying along the flow. If the flow is finished and they go back home, I might not expect for the review. I might not expect for the thank you call. I just expect that they've been go home safely and happily.
And think of you.
And think of me sometimes. It could be think of me, think of our waiter, think of our service and food, because the food and service is only, part of it, but the ambience, the sense of service of people that cannot be replaced by anything, that is the most important. Because sometimes in service we have some two ways, because some SOP, like standard operation procedures that the waiters or the workers will follow.
Right.
And sometimes in service we invest on people a lot, that how you express your happy in your way for the clients that the company accept. So it's quite invest on people on the same time, but one has something to follow and one is not having to follow. Just be yourself, with which the clients will love you.
And talk about, sorry, yeah.
Actually, that's the goal. That's Kun Trent's goal as well. The goal is to not have the customer raise their hands to do anything at all, because you provide such seamless and flow service. That's the way that you can make goal more tangible.
Quite a solid objective over there. I mean, like the objective is to not to see anyone asking for anything, because you have everything ready.
Prepared. Yes.
Interesting. So,
good example.
Yeah, and also, I mean, for more examples, like for chef, there might, I'm not talking about a big chef, but all the catering team, maybe the goal will be more solid than just want to see people enjoy their food and that's it. Maybe the goal will be a little bit more solid, like they want people to instantly bring up their phone to take the photo of the food because it's so beautiful.
So pretty.
The solid goal will be they want to see that facial expression of heavenly happiness right away at the first bite. So we should calibrate our objective to be specific, to be tangible, to be able to be assessed right away. We can achieve the goal right away, and our service will get better and better with that. So we talk a lot about observation, like what Kun Trent said, and also they also said about that as well. Like we have to observe, we have to be very open and very alert, not alarming, but very active to observe the environment and other people in your area, which is very basic in training for actors. I think this is something that we need for the service industry as well. We need people to be very, very, very keen for observation. So can you guys throw some ideas about this? What observation can make difference in our service?
I would say the observation is something that you can attention to details, because if you have a limit of time, not only 10 minutes or 12 minutes with the customer, we don't have time to preparation. We don't have to search the Google who are there and what they like. So we need to be sensible on everything that we have. So we need to open our awareness all the time that we do the service, because we always look from our eyes, sense from our bodies, sense from our nose that what they're talking about, what the perfume they use, how they treat other people, and how the other people treat them as well. So we need to approach them correctly, because the service is not what we want. The service is what the customer wants from us. So it's actually their objective actually, and we follow them. It's like when you improvise something at first, and then the service person follows, something like that, and guide the line.
So yeah, I mean, the observation give you a lot of information.
Yes.
That make sure that you can do something right away, right?
Yeah, because it's like when you look around the room and you see some peanuts a little bit on the floor, and it might cause some big problem, because if our guests have some toddler or a baby crawl on the floor and pick up the peanuts in their mouth, they might choke, they might have allergy. It could be anything. I think the acting process will be open an eye for the first person to see what they should see more clearly, more wider, and more sensitive on everything that they have go past by, I believe.
And observation also extend to when we say observation, we think about looking, but actually observation is also about listening as well. I think sometimes you mentioned something very interesting about you have to listen carefully, and you will get some information of what kind of desired or something that they will need afterwards. You can predict in advance.
Yes.
A little bit.
It's used a lot of technique of acting, because sometimes the client don't say what they want actually in their lines. It could be something else. It could be the acting. It could be some gesture that they express to us, and then they will mean something else that we need to guide. That we need to guess by us. That we need to consume by ourselves. And it takes a lot of training to understand them, like the subtext of each line of the meaning. And sometimes if you don't know quite sure, you need to ask always, because you don't serve what they don't like at all. You must asking. Sometimes asking is might annoying, I know, but you must asking in polite way. You must offer something that could be offer them some choices in terms of butlers. So we offer some choices, alternatives for them to choose, and then we continue our service after the choosing process.
Mm-hmm. You told me that you want to express more about the observation.
Yeah, observation is one of the very first lesson that acting students have to learn, because we need, to be able to understand human or to understand other people, you need to be keen on observation. So you have to open your total awareness and also use your tools that everyone got it since the first day that you came to this world, which is the sense of perception. Like it's come with your body. It's how you see the world, how you listen, how you hear, how you smell, how you touch them, or how even the feeling that you got, which there's a slang word called like vibe, vibe, it's called vibration. So for example, what kind of vibe does this person give to you? Maybe it tell you something about that person. To understand them, it's not gonna help you work easier, but it's gonna give you some opportunity to bonding with them as well. So detail matters a lot.
Right. Before we get to the other part of our talk, which is empathy. We talked a lot yesterday about empathy, that actor needs empathy. So before we go to that, I think we have a very interesting Q&A right now. The question show up right now. Kun Clemine Fu, she asked that, I assume, asked that sometimes for the frontliners in hotels, they are too scripted. And when they greet the customers, what can they do? I mean, when we go to some places that are very careful about how to interact with guests, and everything has become so scripted and lifeless, and they cannot go with the flow. So do you have any suggestion for them?
You first.
Okay, thank you.
Kun Trent first. One by one. So Kun Trent first.
Kun Trent first. Yes.
Thank you, because I've seen many my colleagues have been struck with this kind of problem also. It could be some they need to follow the SOP. They need to follow the name first, the name of the restaurant, and then how may I assist you. It could be anything that they need to follow in each step by step. It is okay if we want something that could be like the first time that we contact, the first time that we meet our clients, or the booking and reservation. But it could be lifeless if you have known the client already. It could be you could start with some voice intonation. You could start with smile. We could set up your tone of your emotion before you pick up the phones. Or sometimes you need to throw something that could be lively in terms of email, because we believe that every time that we contact with our customer, we choose the right word, we choose the right phrase, we use the right voice to talk to them. Sometimes we might start with listen to them first, sometimes, and sometimes we can we throw our lines, which is a lifeless line, and then we see how they respond back, and then we change. Something like that. It could be push and pull to each other, and then we gonna see what next to be. Because sometimes our waiter is so energetic. It could be they follow the line strictly, and then our client so okay, good morning. I want, so we follow and listen, certainly, and we follow their voices step by step, not rush them, not trying to be ourselves so much, to follow what we have heard before, something like that. So it could be like, action and reaction, I believe, Kun Tei.
Yes.
Yes. So action and sorry, Brang, are you gonna say something?
Yeah, I just want to say that you have to feel what you say.
Yes.
You make the script different.
That's true. That's so
right?
easy.
When I say hi,
It sounds easy, Kun Tei, it sounds easy, but it's not.
But it's not.
For non-actor.
Yes, but if you're concerned about the feeling that you say, maybe it is more easy.
Oh, yes.
In my idea.
Okay, for me, I think I agree with Trent and I agree with Brang as well. Connect to your emotion. Hear what you are speaking and your tone of voice. And if your sense telling you that this is this is something wrong with this tone of voice, then trust your instinct. Trust your guts, because your guts tells a lot. But before that, if you have time to practice, maybe try to take the script and change some word and put it in your own word, and run the script through your co-worker and let them see, do a role play. If you have time to prepare, do a role play and practice it with your co-worker and let your co-worker be the audience. Your co-worker have to be sincere as well. They have to keep back like the very sincere feedback as well. That's how you can develop and that's how you can work together.
I think it's very important. I mean, personally, as a client of any hotels or restaurant, sometimes the service is so standard. I mean, everyone want to make sure that you get the best service. So the best becomes standards everywhere when you go to 5-star hotels or whatever. But some hotels can make it more special. They train their team to be a very good communicator, a very good conversation initiator. I mean, this is my personal experience I would like to share. I think it's answered Clemene question as well. I've been to a restaurant in a hotel, and I know that the greetings and everything is very scripted because, I've seen and I heard a lot of it many times. But after the script is over, I know that the script is over right there. They have.
How can I help you?
Yeah. But I know that the script ended right there. But after I try to okay, I feel very blue today. I would like you to introduce me something different. And she can come up with a very lively conversation. How do you feel? How can I help you? Would you like something sweet? Would you like to try something spicy? The conversation flows from that. I mean, sometimes when service designer very strict with what in the script and never let any room for improvisation, the conversation become very lifeless. But when you open up a little bit and you train your team to be, very engaged with the conversation, the experience is totally different. I can tell you. I mean, I really want to go back to that place. Anytime I have time and to spend like afternoon in the Sunday or something. So, but I just want to share that the sense of ownership of the conversation is very crucial. You have to feel like you are in that conversation as well, right? You are not trying to just deliver some lines from the script, but you really want to communicate. You really want to talk with the person you're talking to. So I think this is something acting can help a lot. Acting can help service provider a lot about that. Okay. And the next question I think is quite related. Any advice on how to deal with the customers that they are very self-centered and they must get what they want right away? But it's a little too much for us to handle. I think it's a very interesting question. Anybody want to throw in?
I think actually the client is in the center. Okay, fine. I know that. But yeah, it's true because they pay for our service.
It's our job, right?
It's my job. So that they are center. So please be the good surrounding for them. So if they want something to be a center, be a center. I will let you be the best self-center that I have never met before. And we need to check our policy that how big we can do, how much we can do, how many things that we can do for these clients. Because we believe that sometimes it will be too over, and sometimes we need to exaggerate ourselves too much. Like we have been delivered this especially for you is how we approach to them. Because sometimes the choices that we give to the client is very simple. Maybe just a mixed drink that we do some new recipe like in that time, and then we say that it is especially for you only. It could be something that how we deliver the service, not only an object, because the object it could be changed that much. It could be the food that we have, the drink that we have, but how we deliver our service to the clients that make them so special, so self-centered, so very important. The only person in this room will be the king of this room. It could be like that also. That's how we deliver the service, which I think the acting could be help also with the I believe.
Yeah. That can be helps. First of all, like Trent just said that they are allowed to be a little bit self-centered. It's the nature.
It's the nature because the
It's the
people are
nature
service, I
of
believe.
It's our job to make them feel better.
It is.
So a little bit self-centered, but how would you deal with them, or how would you trying to take care of them in the best way? That so first of all, check your policy, check what can in what extent that you can offer them.
Certainly.
How far
we can go.
with them.
Yes.
And then if you hit the end rate, I would just say you have to remain calm and just keep apologize. All of time, most of the time when people feeling so angry and they like stuck in their own emotion, and it just like rage and it just get thicker and thicker, they just need someone to listen to them, and they just feel like their request is not being heard. So you need to give them what they want first to like calm them down a little bit. You need to be the listener, even though they keep saying negative thing and like heavy words to you. But like, would you try to like take yourself a little bit further outside, like step out a little bit from your character as a staff right there, and try to pretend to be the therapist for a moment, or pretend to be the listener, not a therapist, a good listener. Very good listener.
Yeah, I think this is very very interesting idea, because incentive travel, we are dealing with people who are successful in their career. Mm-hmm. That's why they get the right to join this incentive trip, because it's a kind of reward that they will get. So many times we come across with those clients who demand quite a lot, and I always say that it's fine for them to be demanding, because this is their moment of life. I mean, this is something that's very special to them, and it's our job to make sure that they will feel that way, to make sure that they
feel special.
Yeah, they feel special. So yeah, I agree with Kun Tơi that actually we should be very calm. We should be very very you have to be conscious of what are you doing right now, and you should be a very good listener. And being a good listener can help you help you go to many ways. Mm-hmm. I mean, for instance, I think Kun Trent and Kun Tơi and Kun Pran can express on this as well. Sometimes when we listen to a very very difficult people, we find out that they are not that difficult.
Yes.
Their objective become very very simple. They want to be heard. They want to be respected. They want to make sure that their requests become our priorities, which is quite simple to make them to make them achieve their goal. What do you think about that?
It's actually it's our step to dealing with some difficult guests because we start with listening and then we apologize and then we need to be understand that what the thing should be done. Because the butler say we don't understand the feeling of the client. We only understand the feeling of ourselves, I believe. Yes, we need to. But we need to understand the situations, what it should be. For instance, if the Wi-Fi is not connected, if the coffee is not hot, if the milk is not cold, so you must make sure that everything that the clients want just must be done correctly and flawlessly. So it could be simply like that. And it could be exaggerate complaint from the client. It could be this and that from their experience because we need to understand that they got different background, they got different approach from the services. So we need to understand them like what it should be, not what they're feeling. Because sometimes I got some complaints that, who are you? How could you possibly know what my feelings? It could be like that also. So I'm like, okay. I keep calm again and listen again. Something like that. So it could be like, you need to understand what it should be first. And the feeling, it could be after that from very demanding clients. You don't know me. I'm very important. I'm the VVIP guest. I'm the only person who know myself. Something like that. It could be something I've been through before. So you must understand the situations.
I think this is a very good place to jump to empathy.
Yes, that's true.
Very good place to do our transition because when we talk about service industry, I mean, empathy is a very, very big idea that we have to make sure that we embrace the idea of empathy. And empathic communication is something very, very very important, especially right now because the world is very stressful.
Yes.
The world economy right now is very discouraging, and the business, people in the business world who are the major source of incentive travel people, they are struggling right now. A lot of business cannot go very well. When we have empathy, when we put empathy on the top of our list, when we design the experience, when we create a service, if we want to make the most out of that idea, I mean, create a program or an experience which presenting empathy, I would like you guys to share the idea of what empathy can make different with our service and experience design.
For me, empathy has the bigger definition than just be kind or be gentle. Empathy, it's something go beyond that. Empathy, it understand, accept by trying to put yourself into their shoes. Think of yourself as them. So it's empathy is not gonna come from another people point of view, but it comes from the point of view within yourself. But you have to understand them first and getting closer to them first. So to empathize, in case of the customer, it can help fix this problem with which we are trying to answer. We have to deal with the client with a very self-centered attitude. If you empathize them, you might find that their goal or their request can be easily changed or can be easily, fixed. But also empathize yourself as well. Give empathy to yourself. You have to understand your role, and you have to understand that your role has the ending time. We're going back to tune in and tune out of character. And of course, you've done something very wrong. You did a mistake today, but what are you gonna do after that? Are you gonna let yourself, stuck in the turmoil of the feeling of guilt? I would just say that you put your time and energy and analyze it and fix it and prepare for the future, for the future incident that might happen. A mistake is what will help you learn to be more prepared.
Yeah. Any idea, Trent, would like to throw in?
For the empathy, I'm actually going to start with how we understand from the customer view. I very encourage our service person to learn and get through our service journey, like how our customer could be experienced, could be do, could be seen, could be taste, and what if they struggle with something along the way? What could we do? How could we empathize them? And the empathize is start with ourselves. Actually, how we understand ourselves, how we understand the situation that we have been through in this morning, the heavy raining, and we need to be very clean and tidy before the work, like me today. So it's empathy yourself first, and then we can empathy our colleagues first, and then we start with the clients. Because if you don't empathy each other, we need to compliment each other. Sometimes when we got tired, when our friend is so tired and sick, we need to help them also. So empathy is each other. And then we could bring some good energy to the client after that. So I think it's better to start with your own colleagues while you got them training, while you could have some lineup in the morning, and we cheer up each other and we listen to each other. So we empathize each other, and then we could go out and ready for the show in each day.
Right. That's very cool. So I think from the perspective of the theater practitioner,
Yeah.
yesterday we talked about how we can plan the journey of our clients
Yes.
as if it's a play, as if it's a story that have a very structured story.
Yeah.
And all of you share with us on how to create the journey of experience as a play, as a play with an act and theme. Can you share with us about that? Who first? Maybe.
So,
You, maybe Trent.
yeah, I would say I will use like the plot structure that how our clients will see in each climax, in each scene that we have been through, because the service is only how the little details could work in each scene, and sometimes when they got a level of details that they express, and then step by step, they go into the climax of all the services, and then they will change like denouement, the new circumstance after the climax that they impress about our service. It could be in the little details according to the time that we have. Sometimes we got some 6 hours in the flight, like for example Thai Airways, they got like 6 hours time, and it could be slowly creating, slowly serve. But sometimes we have some low cost budget airline that we need only 30 minutes or 1 hour to impress out the customer. So they need to be very energetic, very happy all the time. That's how we do, because in each scene you need to be happy this much, happier, happiest, something like that. It's the plot structure for me.
So each scene needs
Yes.
their own little climax, and it's getting better and better. To make
Yes.
the whole
Yes.
journey, worth it. Any thoughts, Kun Prang and Kun Teo, about that? I think it's a very interesting idea to carefully design the experience.
I like to add more that if you think your timeline of work in like trying to compare it to when we do a production, there's a pre-production, and then there's a performance date, and then there's a post-production. And this process goes on all the time. Every time that we have a production, you have
All the industry,
pre-production
I was going to say, all the industry.
or the industry as
Yes.
well. Yeah, because the pre-production is how you can plan out, and how you can plan some surprises or some beautiful moment, or the moment that they wouldn't expect in their journey, throughout their journey. And then the performance time, you have to make sure that you deliver the best performance. And then the post-production time is when you reflect with your co-worker, when you analyze, and when you find out what else you can do better for the next time. So yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah, for instance, I would like to add on that. As a program designer myself, when I come up with the idea of incentive travel to any destination, I would break it down to a smaller chunk of experience. I mean, I'm not going to just put it there like you have lunch here for 90 minutes and that's it. I will break it down to the arrival to the restaurant, the first greeting from the chef, the first glimpse of the presentation from the amuse bouche that we served before.
Yes.
I break it down, and I trying to write up what is the climax, the little climax. I want to call it the little climax. During that journey, I mean, the whole 90 minutes can become, 3 different acts of, experience. Where exactly is the climax of that meals? Where is the first, peak of the emotional, we plot it down, everything, and make sure that our team, including the service from the restaurant and my colleague working to make sure everything goes smoothly, they know in advance that they have to make sure that little moments happened. And we did talk about this yesterday, and we talk about the magic moment, yes, which is very, very fundamental as well in the performing arts. Let me get it started because we run out of time. We talk about Kun Prang. I think you can tell again about
magical moment, right?
How we can make the experience very special with the magic moment. Can you compare to that with the theater production?
Yes. Yesterday we talked about magical moment that only happen here and now. So every time when you plan a schedule, you don't forget to make magical moment in your plan. That magical moment is what will bring the customer back for a repurchase. It will engrave in the memory and make an impression. So decide the magical moment without waiting for customer requests. Think of them what they want along the trip, along the journey. And you have to make sure that they have to come to you. There's only this trip that the magical moment will happen. So they cannot buy it.
It's like a live performance that when it's over, it is over, right?
Yes. And could you give a little example from Disney?
The magical moment is actually I happen to have some experience from working with Walt Disney World as well. I did an exchange program. So but I remember from the first day, orientation day, the first thing that they asked us to do as the member, which means the employee is to try to create magic moments any day. It could be anything that we can think of. It could be a special treatment. It could be maybe a good conversation or compliment. So Disney has this kind of concept in their theme parks and their hotel, So you're gonna end up with a story you just bought an ice cream, and then you happen to spill it out. And then you go back to the ice cream parlor and they give you the new one, something like that. It creates just a tiny detail, a little spark that will make people memorize and feel good and feel like their day just get a little bit better. Or a concept birthday tag, anniversary tag, at Disney, when you buy a ticket to go in, if it's your birthday, you got a birthday tag and you put it on your shirt, and every time when you go to any any corner of the park, people just keep saying happy birthday to you, happy birthday. It's a good feeling that human needs, the feeling of being recognized. So that's how you can create a magic moment as well. Or it could be any other thing, but small detail, and look into what they need, look into what they what they vibe out to you. That's how you get more information, and that's how you can use that opportunity to bond with them.
Sorry, would you like to add anything?
Yes, it's actually like the same concept in butler training that we do every day. It's called listen and act. It's how we observe the clients, and then we act immediately, to how to impress them in 3 minutes, in 10 minutes, in 5 minutes, the actual things that we could do. And as a team, we count each day how many impressive things that we could do for the client. It could be 100 things all the day long. It could be 10, and we count as a month. It could be like 1,000 things that we could do for the clients every single day on a month. And it could be a year, it could be like a 10,000 and 100,000 that we could do for the clients, from listen and act, how we observe and make them impressed. It's like the same concept, but for us it's so small. It could be like any card, it could be any champagne, it could be any single thing. It could be like very small things, but we need to do it like, simultaneously, like time in the present.
Yeah, of course, and all the little things, all the little details that we get from being a good listener, from being a very open-minded. You welcome any kind of possibilities that any good thing can happen, and you can make it happen right away. So I think this is a thing we call magical moments, of course, when we are in the theater industry as well. I mean, when actors doing their job very well, the experience become even more impressive. Even if it's the same production, in the same play, when people, when we did the job right, it's become very, very impressive. And it's a one time only moment that will happen, and it will never happen again. And that kind of experience is something that we are looking for in the incentive travel. Because I'm going to explore a little bit more about this with the time that we have left. When we talk about magic moment, when we talk about the details, this is something that make our experience totally different from any other kind of experience. I mean, the ordinary travel, like all the leisure travel, people just go there to the destination and enjoy the beach, enjoy the mountains, or maybe in Thailand they will go to the temples or whatsoever. So that's the experience that people can get easily. But in terms of incentive travel, we have to craft each and every moment to make sure that the experience is something different. Even though we go to the same place, we go to the same destination, we go to the same hotel, the experience is always different. It must be different as well. So let me get back to the very beginning of our talk. We talk about objective. Talk about that service provider, service person have to have a very, very solid objective. And that objective will move you with the motivation to do something, even go for the extra miles to make sure that you are delivering the best experience you can. But let me zoom out a little bit because some of our listeners right now and in the future will come back to see the talk. Some of them might not be in the frontliners. They are not the service provider themselves, but they design the whole thing. And personally, I'm on that side of the service as well. I'm not the one, attaching to the client right away. I have all the teams doing that. But to me personally, I think as a theater, as someone in the theater background, I think crafting the moment, crafting the whole experience is very much like this directing a show. Very much like creating the production to make people impressed with what I'm trying to tell. For instance, when I have to work with Chiang Mai, like for instance, the destination Chiang Mai, everybody knows Chiang Mai. I mean, you go to the temple, you go to the mountain, you go to the jungle, you eat, you travel, you shop. But when you have to come up with something different, you need to tell some story that never been told before. I think acting helped me a lot about this. I think you guys can weigh in on that. Acting and dramatic arts helped me to find the objective, helped me to find the untold story, helped me to connect my client with the destination at the level that they never imagined before. For instance, I want to make it meaningful to them. I want to make sure that the client in my trip feels that their success become meaningful to the community that they are going to as well. So I create a scene that people help the villagers to preserve the forest the way that they do. Help them to create a useful firewall. Maybe they help people to plant orchids back to the nature. Maybe they do, they clean up the community streams or something like that. And it doesn't mean that you have to come up with luxury idea, but I want them to feel as if they are in the fabric of the story itself, which I won't be able to think about if I'm not, if I never think about it as a theater, as a play. So what do you have any comment on that? Because I think the most important part about our job, our job as a incentive program designers, is to make sure that the experience is meaningful. Is something that goes with the objective of the client who want to motivate their workforces.
So I have to talk a little bit about like the theory, not a theory, but like it's a little bit of what we look for when we do a performance. When we do a performance, we like to not just show them what we can do, or not just show them the story, but we want the audience, our goal is to the audience to feel involved into the story, and then they decide to think of themselves as one of the character in the story. That is the experience. It's invisible, but you can feel it. Like the way to measure it is your feeling. So this kind of experience, if you want to put it into service or in hospitality, you have to really go back and think about like, okay, so how can you get your audience to become a part of the story? So first of all, you have to understand your story first. Right? So it just keep like asking yourself back and go back to the original point, to the beginning way, how you start off. Go back to your story first, and then how can you invite the audience, which is your customer, to become in the story? Because if they become in your story, then they can have emotional involvement, and then they can get the experience.
Right. I think this is very important as well. Any thoughts, Kun Prang and Kun Trent, you would like to add?
For me, I will consider like every time that what we going to consider something to deliver to the clients, we always ask that what it means to them. Like, is it connect with their memories, connect with their perception, connect with their objective in the trip, or connect with their own self? So we need to ask ourselves like, what it means to them. Every single thing, every dishes, every gesture we use to them, every language that we use. It could be anything that we could be approached to them, what it means to them. Is it linked with the theme of the trip, or it could link with themselves sometimes? Because I've been through with many trips this month, I could say. I could be around Thailand, this month, September, I'm going to Chiang Mai, Phuket, Hua Hin, Prachinburi with my customer. And I say to myself all the time, what it means to them. So when I got some answer, is it linked to them? Is it linked to the holistic idea? Is it linked to the healthy issue? Is it linked to the culture sometimes? So I would do that. But if it doesn't mean anything, I will let it flow, because sometimes when you do something too much, you taking care of them too much. Sometimes it feel uncomfortable sometimes. So I always ask myself what it means to them. Easy trick for me.
Yeah, so it's become a character. I mean, you want to feel what they feel, and maybe
yes.
You can also add something nice to the experience. Anything, Kun Prang?
Yeah, and I think the planner or the designer has to review the plan themselves to see about the schedule. Is that okay? Is that work? Why is the magic moment happen in that schedule? So they have to review the plan before they launch the plan to the customer or the clients. This is very important, and they will get what they feel, like the trend said.
I think another way to review is to put on a role play and test out with the colleague.
Exactly.
Let them be the guest or the client and go through that experience and then listen to their feedback.
And we call it sometimes called like manager on duty. It is someone in that day could be the client, one person, and they will try everything in the hotel and get the feedback to the management. We call it MOD, manager on duty. That's the guest of the day. Mm-hmm. We could treat them like the guest exactly, and they will measurement to the management. It could be so fun. Every day we do that.
Right. Yes, so the role play helps. I mean,
a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, when I as a program designer myself, this is my confession. I always try to make sure that I get everything right by pretending to be someone else and read it for the first time. Because when we try to do the program on the file, on the computer, we just think and we do the research, we Google, we call the sales rep, we call the hotel to make sure everything is right. But sometimes we so get carried away with the idea of how to make it more special, how to make it better, and we forgot to come back and put some new shoes and read and go through the experience on with the eye of someone else, which is very, very important. I love the idea of role play. Can you give some advice if you want to conduct a role play to recheck your service design? Do any advice for those in the industry? How can we do that? Who will be the right person to do that for you?
Okay. The very right person to do it is with the people that involved in this work or in this mission. Okay, because like for example, if you want to do a role play of how like the best way to or the new way to greet the client or the guest, administrative staff might have to be the one who do the role play. But my techniques in doing role play is that take it serious. Take your role play serious. If you have to become the guest or the clients, just think of when you go out and become a guest in your real life, what kind of personality that you bring with.
You take it exactly.
Take it as you are. Sometimes people will see the opportunity of doing role play as like a game, and they get out of hand and they don't take it serious. And laugh all the time because it's funny because you change environments and it's funny. It's that you want to release that stress out sometime, but just keep remind of yourself that if you don't get it serious, then you're never gonna get anything from this role play. So just take your role play serious. It's weird sentence, but it's
comment seriously as well, right? Because in our training of actors, we value the comment very much. The serious comment is a key as well. Any thoughts?
I would say it's the thing that we could improve all the time because we get the comments every single half an hour and we do the service. It's directly to us all the time. So in like for the training of role play, I used to take the doorman to use my service. I drive in a buggy, feed them, and pamper them like they need to do, and then that's how they can deliver to the client because they're a doorman, they're front, they will be the one who have been asked all the time. So let's try, come on, I will treat you as a king, something like that. And he also gave a comment from me also that Kun Trent, it is too loud, it is too, I don't know, I feel uncomfortable sometimes, Kun Trent. Wow, thank you so much sometimes. We always have some comments that we might never expect that to have before from our colleagues.
So comment is very, very important in our culture, actors' culture. So
my culture also.
And we would like to spread the ideas that if you do want to do the role play, do it seriously and comment seriously. Because we need that reflection. Okay, I think for the last question, I think Claymin would like to extend the question to this part. the question is, what kind of practices can one do if they can't change the tone of their voice? A lot of times they don't realize that's their disadvantage when lowering down the tone still doesn't help. I think it's continue from the previous question that the frontliners has to do, the meetings and everything, but they cannot control the tone. I think you all three have some comment on this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I would say, because sometimes I always face this kind of problem, because sometimes when you lowering down the voice, it will be too low, and sometimes the client can't hear it. So I expect like the loud one, and to use a certain words only. Like don't talk too much, don't talk too loud, don't talk too low. Just make sure that if you're talking to the phones and someone call you over, you could be heard, something like that. So the tone of voice, it depends on you. I think Kun Tay might be suggest the best for how we use the voice, I believe.
For me, I think we have to go back to the root of the problem. I don't think it's volume. I don't think it can be changed by like toning up and down, but I think it's the attitude. I think it's like going back to who you are and what kind of feeling do you want the one that participate with you to get from you. If you can understand that play that role, then you decide, then you understand that okay, this attitude will not work with this kind of sentence. You have to change your attitude a little bit. Sometimes you have to use the attitude as the ruler, the one who controls the rule. For example, if you are a lifeguard, your tone of voice might have to be a little bit louder. It will change from your attitude. But sometimes if you like a host, like a greeter, or someone who like a front line, you need to understand that people will come meet you the first order, and then they want to feel welcome. They want to feel like this could be a place that they can enjoy. This could be a place that they can relax and rest from the world. So if you understand that attitude, your tone of voice will change automatically.
And the thing is, you must be loud enough for them to be heard, because this kind of clients all the time, they need the clear voice, they need the clear sentence, the clear thing for them only. So many times, and I see my colleagues, we are Thai, we are very polite, we use the soft and low voice all the time.
Voice.
Yes, you know that, and I always do speak up sometimes. Do the clear voice. Don't use too much your breath. Just use your voice yourself, and then please do it discreetly and effectively sometimes. So lower is a choice. I think the louder is for me is better for me.
Kun Prang, do you have anything to add? I think it's go back to what you mentioned before. Feel what you are saying.
Yeah, and maybe you have to practice. I think the voice have to train. You cannot train it one day. You have to train again and again. Yes.
Agree. And what about those who cannot, have a very frail voice, or they are not so confident with what they're saying right now? Not to mention that they don't feel what they're saying, but they don't feel confident enough. Do you have any suggestion for them in terms of, acting training? Any kind of, solution for them to feel more confident about yourself?
Maybe you have to believe what you say. And you have to, I think you have to believe it, what you say, and you agree with your comment, and then you say it with your confidence.
Right. Anybody?
Just reassure yourself that you are doing right. For example, if you stick to the script, you're doing 80% right. You just have to control the rest. You're not gonna go wrong. Nothing's gonna go wrong. You just have to control the rest and make it become your script, not the script that you've been passed out on. And just it's confident. It's another issue. It's like we need another
Session.
session.
Yes, I think so.
More session for that.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Anything for the confidence trend?
I believe that we use the confidence every time because if you don't confidence, the client will be picking you up and yelling at you sometimes. It's always been like that. If you are the weakness one in the restaurant, you'll be the one who got the complaint sometimes.
You be the target.
You'll be the target because they will hunt you and kill you at that time. So the confidence is very useful for the waiter all the time. You must be confident of what you said. What food is this? What drink is this? Because unless you'll be yell. Again, please, I can't hear you all the time. So the confidence helps you a lot. I suggest you could talk with your friend first before you going out for working. It could be like a chit chat or singing sometimes. You could sing that phrase sometimes, put some melody, something like that from the song that you like, and play with your friend at lunch or at break time, and you'll be more confident with that.
Yeah. So on that note, I mean, yes, I agree that if you talk about confidence, we need a whole session for that. In terms of
But I think,
training.
Pishu, I think one thing that you have to always remember is that you need a time to prepare. You need time to prepare, right? There's a pre-production time that you can benefit a lot from that. And then during your performance time, be relaxed. Trust that you have practiced enough. And then just trust yourself, trust your instinct, and relax. Because sometimes when you feel so not confident, it's because you don't relax and you feel tense and you feel worried about everything. So that's not going to help you. Just go back to relax, breathing, coming back to your stomach and your guts, and use the breath, inhale, exhale, to help you go back to like your character and ready to perform.
Right. I think the final advice from me will be just take the stage. This is your territory. This is your space, and you are conducting service on your, with your own, way, and confidence will come later with your practice. So, be confident in your job, be confident in what you are trying to do, and, practice. That's it. So I think on that note, thank you very much, the three of you, to share with me the theater practice that we can apply to the service industry, especially in incentive travel industry. So thank you very much, Kun Tran from Nylet Butler and Kun Prang from Self Factory. I think our team, can you show a little bit on what kind, if our viewer in the future would like to contact them, do you have any contact information? I think we can meet Kun Tran first.
Yes, I think I have sent to the team already that we have. Or
I think I'm showing that soon in a moment. So if you want to contact our speakers, please don't hesitate to go there. And all the videos can be accessed after this on YouTube channel Site Thailand, and also in our website later. And also for the speakers from the previous talks as well, we are going to give you the contact information. And what about the Self Factory? Can we show the contact information for Self Factory? And I thank you very much, the two of you, to share with this, because I think people need this in the service industry. We need to take care of ourselves as in a bigger meaning, not just self as you, but self as something you can hold on and make sure that you can deliver good service for that. So thank you very much. I would like to thank our sponsors, Thailand Incentive and Convention Association Atika, and also our strategic partners, Thailand Convention and Exhibition Bureau. This has been very great, very fun talk and conversations, and this is the last Site Talk webinar. We will be back for more in the future. Stay tuned and have a very healthy and safe day, and enjoy your service and enjoy your work. Thank you very much, and see you again next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.